Thank you so much for joining me for Calibrating with Leah, the life coach. I have the opportunity to have Andre Harrison on, aka Dre, and I am elated to just talk with him and calibrate with him because from what I've seen from him, he's an amazing individual that does great things. He's a teacher based out of New York. Look at him. He's a teacher based out of New York, and he's also an author. He's a father, and so much more. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and bring on Andre D. Harrison. Yeah, I really appreciate it. How are you? How are you?
Good. My pleasure. My pleasure. I'm not sure. Is the sun still out where you are?
Not yet, no.
Setting?
No, it's dark.
It
is dark.
So yeah, the sun set like, almost 6 hours ago here. So
really?
almost, yeah.
I know, right? This time difference always gets me because it's like dark at like 4:30. I'm like, what is going on? Like, what is this?
Yeah. So, I like the days. I'm a day person. I like sunlight. I like to be out when the sun is out. Some people are night people. I'm not really a night person. I'm a day person. I love sunlight.
I love the sun.
What's up, Ken?
I have like a little love affair with the sun, so I definitely can understand that. But I'm an all-day person. Like I get up early and I go to bed really late. So it's like all the time. I'm all over the place. I kind of go and flow with life, It lets me know when I need to rest, when I need to slow down, whatnot.
See,
so
I'm the same way though, but it's because I'm like doing reading and lesson planning and assignments and other stuff that I just don't have control over right now.
I bet because you have to discipline so many people, you have to be so disciplined. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. I couldn't even imagine people depend on me and, expect so much from me. And I'm a witness that you are a hard worker. You're so dedicated to your students, family, to your community, everything around you. So that's what people need though. So you have some friends in here. We got Ken. Kente, your ears are different today. Yeah, because I wanted ears to come in big, say hello. So yeah, they're different ears. Sometimes they're cat ears, sometimes they're bunny ears. Kente came out to my show, one of my comedy shows, and supported that I'm doing right now. Yeah, it's Laugh at My Calibrating. I appreciate Kente. That's my dude. Kente, I might have to do it at your place next month. So we'll see. So since this is a free-flowing discussion, I also want to bring to mind that even though it's a free-flowing discussion, that I love for it to go to a very practical manner and end on something that someone can take away, something that's very practical and that they can put into their lives and utilize right then and there. And It doesn't have to be anything specific, but just what we come around to, just in us calibrating, just the natural flow of things, where it takes us, where it leads us. So is there anything in your heart or mind that, you know?
Ginger tea. Do you like ginger tea? I love ginger tea.
So I love ginger tea.
I'm just talking right now.
Actually, I was sick. So my mom is a good unconditional lover. So she made me all these beet juice, ginger tea and ginger shots.
Jada loves it too.
And soup and lentil soup. I love ginger tea. I have a whole box of it in my cabinet right now. Yeah. So
what I do with mine is I put like some of the Halls, the menthol drops, let it dissolve for a little bit, especially whenever stuffy nose. Yeah, I use things like that for remedies. I try not to put too much. And I'm not like the type of person that's against medicine. By all means, if I need to, I'll take it. But I try to let the body do what it needs to do and use natural stuff to help me first before I get to the point of putting chemicals in my body to get better.
I think that's a nice way to go with things because so many people get dependent on, drugs and things like this when it's absolutely not necessary because there's so many things out there that people don't really know about that can aid you in your healing and preventive care and really take you out of it. Because I know when I have the flu or anything, if I really get diligent about it and acknowledge that I'm sick, because I'm a real, I'll blow past things, I'll try to not be sick. But if I were to take garlic in the beginning and a little bit of ginger juice and some lemon water, it knocks it right out.
Prevented. It's
Right?
preventative.
It knocks
Yeah, it
it
helps us
right
out.
out. But what happens is I wait, I'll take a garlic, then I'll feel better. And then I'm like, oh, I wasn't sick. And then I don't be and then I get really sick. And then the garlic's like, okay, I got you for a few hours and you got to keep re-upping it.
Yeah.
And then you also have to treat the food and things like that, like medicine. Like you have to do it 3 times a day, drink the water and the fluid. So I'm definitely more of a natural person because I worked in the medical field for 20 years. So I've seen a lot of background for how medicines get approved, how they are issued out. And I think it's very, how do I say it? It's very theory driven. It's very
okay. Well, I think that's medicine in it, in a nutshell. It's about practicing. Let's see let's see if this works. Okay, if this doesn't work, let's try a higher dosage. Okay, this isn't working, so let's try this medicine. So it's all about trial and error,
Definitely, but the thing about it is I don't think people see it that way. I think people feel like when they go to the doctor is all knowing and they're going to give them the cure and then everything's going to be fine. And I think more people have to do a lot of research before going in on their ailments and things that are happening to them, know their research and their business. Because I've also dealt with sick children in the medical field where I was taking a sick child to specialist after specialist and I became the specialist. They were asking me my opinion and ask what I should do and Googling things right in front of me. And they're only humans. They are specialized in being able to go and research something given based off what you're telling them and your symptoms and being symptomatic. So I think people need to take that when they're treating their illnesses and when they go to a doctor to know what they're talking about and just the options that they have, because a doctor is also going to go with the first option that a representative brought to them for whatever new medication that's on the shelf. And I think what a lot of people don't know too is there's a lot of like trading back and forth between doctors, hospitals, and reps for medicines. So they offer like trips and things like that. So you're not always getting the best medical treatment for you. Sometimes you're just getting what was presented to that hospital. And you got to know what you're getting into, what you're taking and what you're not taking. Go ahead. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm listening, and I definitely agree. But we also got to respect doctors for what they do. They know what they're talking about, and they know how to research. So I do have confidence in a lot of doctors out there. In fact, but we should go in there, probably doing a little bit of research on our symptoms first, so that when we do speak to the doctors, we have prior knowledge of what we are feeling and what are possible diagnoses that can happen. Like for instance, I'm not like I don't see Dr. Google for every time I feel an ache or a pain or something like that. But a couple of years ago, I almost a year and a half ago, I had a tumor removed from my jaw, which is why my mouth is like shaped this way. When they took the tumor out, there was some nerve damage there. So they cut my jaw off, took it off. I have a metal plate still here. But then almost like 3 weeks after that, I went back to work, and I went after I shut down the community center that I was a supervisor at. I went to the bathroom, and I felt lightheaded. I felt nauseous. And I had a pain on my side, and I never felt anything like that. So the first thing, and I almost passed out. I had to sit down and crawl from the bathroom to my office. I was the only person in the building, and I wound up getting to my cell phone. First thing I did was Google the symptoms I was feeling. I had pain on my side. I was lightheaded, nauseous. I couldn't walk because I would have passed out. And it said a possible appendicitis. I was like, okay. First, I thought to myself, well, maybe my body just needs to heal itself. But then I was looking at the symptoms, and appendicitis isn't one of those things that the body can just recover from. So I wound up calling my sister, going to the doctor. told the doctor at the ER my symptoms, and then I said, also, when I did my research, and I used words like research. I wasn't like, hey, Google told me I had appendicitis. So I was doing some research, and I read a couple of sites, and based on my symptoms, I may have appendicitis. The doctor initially said, well, we'll determine if you have that or not. We'll run the test. Turns out that I had it, and I wound up going into surgery that very night to have my appendix removed. It was crazy. And this was 3 weeks after I had tumor surgery. I was in the very same operating room when they took my surgery out for my appendix. Insane. Oh. I took the tumor out. Insane.
That is something else. I mean, but that's something to be living where you live, because you live in a place to where you guys have a big community kind of way about each other, right? So you probably see that doctor a lot, right? That's where you go to?
No, I had to go to the hospital for that.
Oh, okay. And you still got the same room?
Not the same room, different doctor, but definitely the same room. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. I'm glad everything went well. I'm glad the tumor was removed. I'm glad you went and Googled your symptoms and went in and had that surgery. Now, do you feel like it delayed you anyway? Because I kind of remember you posting about those surgeries, and I just feel like you never stopped. Like you still just went right through it. No, you were down.
Yeah, I don't think I didn't stop. I kept going through. Yeah, going through it. Yeah, I didn't stop.
And that's kind of like how you are. That's who you are. You just push through and get things done.
Yeah, I try to be. I see life as just a series of causes and effects. And and it's like life is like coding. In school now, everything is about coding. And one of the things about coding is something that we do in life. If this happens, then we do this. Sometimes we if such and such happens in our life, we respond in a way that's either going to propel us or bring us back. So every situation in life is meant to be something that you can learn from. And even if we feel like it's something that's attacking us, if it's attacking me, then it's attacking me because I'm strong enough to go through it. And I'm going to try my hardest to learn from it. So I've been through a lot, experienced a lot. And I also learned through all my experiences that the only thing that I can control, I may not be able to control what people say to me, what people do to me, but I could respond how I react to certain things. And I, made a decision. I'm not going to let, what people perceive to be bad things deter me from responding in a way that's positive, whether it's a tumor in my jaw, to appendicitis, to somebody wanting to threaten my life, which hasn't happened in a very long time. But, I respond the way I meant to respond. So if this happens, then I am going to respond in a positive way no matter what. So despite me having those physical ailments a couple of years ago, I responded with, I'm still going to press through no matter what. So,
okay. So what do you think?
Encourage somebody.
Yeah. But I was going to say, what gave you that drive? Do you think that's just, was that a family upbringing? Is that just what you decided and made it a choice to be? Or is there codes or mechanisms that you, with your coding, that revert you back to, like I call it, like booby trapping yourself for success? Knowing that there are situations that can trigger you, and acknowledging who you are and how you respond, and then making the choice of how you want to respond in future events.
Well, it's a couple of things. I think one of the main things is that is my faith. I try to pull from that, and hopefully how I respond could bring God some kind of glory. If I respond in a positive way, maybe people can look at that and be like, okay, why does he respond that way? And it'll allow me an opportunity to just have a nice conversation about my faith. Second thing is my boys, which my 16-year-old is walking in the door now. He's coming upstairs. I try to model for my kids how I would like them to be when they grow up. which is one of the reasons why I went so hard in school for the past couple of years. This generation of young people, my kids' generation is the first generation that won't be ahead of the generation before them. Mm-hmm. So it's like maybe what we're doing is we're not raising the bar high enough for them. So I'm thinking if I raise the bar high in every area of my life, it's not a bad thing for me to expect them to reach that bar. And if I expect them to reach that bar, my hope is also that they'll seek to, supersede or surpass that bar that I set for them. So those are the things I really glean from when I look at situations. How I respond, will it give God some sort of glory? And when my sons see me respond to this, what will they learn from me when they see me respond? So.
Okay. Yeah, I love that. I think someone could definitely take from that and pull that through when they're going through something and just, feeling like they're at their end. And I also feel like I would like to remind people that your brain is a very protective brain, that when you get tired or when you get injured, or it just wants to protect. That's its main job that it wants to do. And it sounds off an alarm to let you know that, okay, you're in distress, that you're in go mode, that you're taking a reserve of your energy and who you are. But it's not telling you that you cannot. It is giving you caution and guidance, which you should take heed to very often. You should take heed to everything that you feel and that goes through your mind and body, but know that you are you're stronger than the brain lets on. It has a very important job that it takes very seriously. Okay, so you don't always need to stop just when your brain is telling you to stop. Today I was driving down the street and I saw a kid and he's running down the street and he straight looks like he's going to pass out. And he is just pushing through. He even almost like tumbled to the ground and pushed himself back up and just kept running and kept running.
1 second. I'm sorry. You need tea?
Yeah, it's okay.
I got you.
He needs tea, huh?
Yeah. So I'm listening. You keep going. I'm going to put some tea on it.
It's good that you spread that naturalness to your children.
You guys can. I'm gonna let you guys see my son real quick. I'm doing like a conversation on
what you used to do.
Yeah, he said what I used to do. This is my 16-year-old. Hi, how are you?
How are you? I feel like I know him.
How are you?
I'm doing good.
Oh, that's good. I feel like I know him.
This is one of my babies. One of my babies. All right, let me get you some tea. So I'm listening.
We'll go right ahead. So the kid is running down the street and he fell almost to his knees a few times, but I could see him just keep going, keep pressing. And there was just something in there that just made him go. But I could tell on the look on his face, his body was giving out, but he pushed through. And I don't know how far he made it, but when I seen him, he had pushed through. So I think it's amazing to see what we're truly capable of, and how if we really just push ourselves, that we'll be surprised at how far we get. And I also have another little story about a friend. Like, I go hiking a lot with a pack of dogs. It grounds me. It makes me feel centered, closer to God. I love being out there, being a part of a team. It teaches you a lot to be a part of a pack. And so I go hiking with this great pack of dogs. And I invited a friend of mine to go hiking with me. Now, she isn't like quite the hiking type, but I had been going around this hike and trying to finish it for like a couple of weeks. I would get to it and I just like, oh, I can't go anymore. And I just give up. And then I'd go around and I get to it and then I just give up. And then I'd always come back out and try again. So each time I got a little bit further, a little bit further, a little bit further. But I remember each time I got around like a corner and I seen like there was still hundreds of yards to go. I was kind of like, oh yeah, no, I can't take this. I can't do this. I'm done. But eventually I finished the whole entire track around the hike. So I took my friend and I told her, okay, it's a medium hike, but it's long, but you can definitely do it because I've done the whole thing and it's easy. So, because when I had finally went around the whole entire thing, I had wondered why it took me so long to get around it. And it was my mind. it was my mind every time I got and I saw that I didn't see the ending in sight, that I felt like it was too much and I gave up. But once I finished it, I knew, I was like, oh, that was nothing. I should have did this the first time. So when I took her, I tried to pre-warn her and like let her know like how it was going to go. But I realized when she was going on the hike and she didn't know the trail or when it was going to end, it was like torture to her. Now, it wasn't an overly long or strenuous hike. It was because her mind was telling her exactly what it was doing to me, that this is too long, this is too much, and you can't do it. Because every turn she expected it to be a finish line and there wasn't. She was very shy. She's like, no, I'm done. But I did like assure her that it was okay and that she could do it. And then she finished the whole entire thing. She was kind of mad at me at the end, but she was happy that she didn't turn around. So my whole point is just that not seeing sometimes can limit how much energy that we put into something, but it doesn't mean that our energy is depleted. It means that our brain is trying to make sure that we're okay and that we're taken care of and to keep us out of that strenuous journey. But it doesn't mean we're not capable of the strenuous journey. It's just our mind, doing the pros and cons, and you want to run through it and push through to the best of your ability. Hi, you're back. I was still doing this. So I was just more talking to the fact of, when you're pushing through and you can't see the full finish line, that's okay. To keep going until you just can't go no more. Left, right, left, right. You don't need to see the whole finish line sometimes. Sometimes you got to step out there on faith. And I know when I'm out there hiking physically and I get tired, I stop looking forward and I look down at my feet and just where my next step is going to be. And I kind of do like a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, left, right. And then it kind of becomes like a little musical jingle in my head. And then I look up and I'm almost at the finish line when I look up. So it's like, just concentrate on what you want to see, because if you want to see a long journey, a long, arduous journey, that's what it's going to look like. If you want to look at an adventurous journey to see your strength and what you're made of and show up who you are in the moment that is calling for you to show up, that is something to take in and to hold near and dear to your heart, because that experience is highlighting and honoring you and the strength that you didn't even know you had. And I tell you, confidence is something.
Yeah. Am I still on? I think Leah is still there. Well, Ken, I like what you just said. Take the first step in faith. You don't have to see the whole staircase just to take the first step. That's very true. And it's like running a marathon. You're about to run a 26 point something mile race. And it's from Martin Luther King. Yeah. And when you're running a race that is meant to go the distance, you can't see the finish line. In fact, when you're going the distance, people who commit to the race commit to whatever happens, knowing that eventually they will finish the race as long as they stay on the path, no matter how hard it gets, no matter what obstacles in life